every day was exciting. I went to the studio in the morning when the sun came up. As soon as they opened the gates, I was there, and I was there the last one to leave at night. You could take horseback riding, go back in the back lot on Western Street, and the best stuntmen in the world would train you. You could take fencing. They had a gym there where you could box. They had a professional ex-boxer there as a trainer. But what was most rewarding was the fact that you could go down on the soundstage if you were not in an acting class. If your class was over, you could go down on the sound stages and watch people. As I went down to watch Brando do The Man. I went down to watch Jimmy Stewart do Harvey. You know, if you weren't working in a picture, and 1 week you'd do a one-line walk-on, and then next week you might be cast in a feature lead if you were under contract there. And that's the way it was.
You, Jesse James.
Frank James.
Your brothers?
Yep.
Cole Younger.
Jim Younger.
You brothers too? That's right.
I ain't scared of no Union soldiers. It's them redlegs that worries me.
How come a man gets mean enough to want to be a redleg?
My pappy says there ain't nobody meaner. He said they're just acting like they're working for the Union Army so as they have a chance to kill and rob decent folks.
Well, we gonna sit up here all day and gab, or are we gonna move on?
Riding through.
Audie Murphy, he was under contract at the time. I was, and Audie and I got along very well. But Audie was very intense. We were doing Kansas Raiders. I remember he shoots, I think it was Scott Brady, I believe, and Tony Curtis and I and Dick Long and Dewey Martin coming out of this store, and he shoots Scott Brady down. And I remember looking at Audie when during the scene, and Audie, when he was shooting Scott Brady, I actually saw death. And of course, you know, Audie was the most decorated soldier in World War II. It never left him. It never left him. Audie was always a dangerous man. Raoul Walsh had the patch over the eye, you know, 'cause he got that in an accident flying one time when a bird came through the windshield. Tough man. We were going there, and we'd landed at an airport, and I can't remember where it was, but I remember it was early in the morning, and everybody was tired, and everybody was just sort of hanging there and waiting for the plane to show up. And just for fun, I mean, I was bored, and Raoul Walsh is sitting down. Maybe there's about 6 or 7 actors, and then his wife, and then Raoul Walsh, and a few other people. And I went, and everything went dead quiet, and I quit. And I saw Raoul Walsh lean forward and look down at me. And then he got up, and I said, oh, my Lord. Because he's very, very intimidating. And he walked up to me and he said, do that again. I thought if I did it, he was going to hit me, probably. I didn't know what he was going to do. And I said, he said, I want you to write a little scene and put that in it. I want to shoot it in the movie. Well, I wanted to be a writer anyway, so I wrote about a 4-page scene, and I gave it to him, and he said, I didn't want the, you know, the Gettysburg Address. I wanted the little baby's hand over. He said, just say da-da-da-da-da-da, and go, I said, he says, you got it? I said, yes, sir, I got it. And then he put it in the picture.
It's coming down like pouring water out of a boot.
You know, back home on a day like this, my old grandpappy used to get out the bagpipes and just whistle away.
Arthur Penn was primarily a stage director, and it was his first movie. So Arthur said, well, we're going to rehearse at my house. He had rented a house there in Hollywood. And we went over there, and we would rehearse there. Paul would always wear the gun, because he was practicing with the left hand, because he was going to play it as a left-handed gunman, as Billy the Kid. And the writers would be there, and we would do a scene, and we could ad-lib if we want to, or paraphrase, or do an improv on it. And they might use some of it, or a little